King Vendrick, the man who built Drangleic with the help of the golems that he created. But what do we know of his fall? We know that his victory against the mighty giants was short-lived, and regardless of the fact that newcomer to court Nashandra warned him of the threat across his borders, and he had hired mercenaries to boost his forces, King Vendrick's forces were still ineffectively prepared for the invasion of the giants, and took heavy losses. This is likely due to the dark sign turning a large portion of his forces hollow. Regardless of when specifically the lost sinner tried to relight the first flame, causing a new bond between bonfires and humans, a war of sorts followed, and a war only makes more corpses, not more men. Though taking heavy losses, the kingdom of Drangleic still prevailed. Nashandra, having gained the trust of the king, eventually becomes queen. Alongside Vendrick, she ushered in a peace so deep it was like the dark. Personally, I believe that Drangleic is currently in an age of dark that is dwindling much as the age of fire did, as we know it is seen as a pretty big sin to try and relight the first flame. This age of dark seems to be unwittingly sustained by the king, a puppet of the dark, seeing as how his new bride is just a reincarnation of Manus. When Manus was defeated in Dark Souls 1, he split into shards. Amongst these, the smallest shard was the one that would serve as the central hub of Manus' reformation. I believe that the smallest shard of Manus was the part that most resembled who he was at his core at the time of his death. The part that longed for that broken pendant, previously speculated to have belonged to Dusk of Ulasil, and reaches out to grab you. This could explain the similarities that can be drawn between Nashandra's original form on the throne and Dusk. The Emerald Herring says, "The king's castle, where a man peered straight into the essence of the soul. But whatever came of it?" It is unclear to me if she is talking about Vendrick or not, as it could be any man in the king's castle. But if she is talking about him, it ties in pretty nicely with my next speculation. If not, then for now my speculation still remains the same. I think that during this dark peace, King Vendrick had time to reflect. The kingdom prevailed, but most of it is in ruins. The curse still remains. Meanwhile, the giants are being reborn into trees, or at least have started to. He may have also reflected upon Nashandra's mysterious appearance and how she knew of the threats beyond his border in the first place. Perhaps he noticed that slowly he was losing his mind, leading him to believe that more souls was the answer to his problems. Either way, he knew something wasn't quite right, and whatever Vendrick saw, heard or experienced in the end, it led him to give up hope. Vendrick abandoned the idea of gathering more powerful souls, neglected the throne of want, and retreated to the crypts that respected the dead's need for peace, a respect that was imposed under his own rule. Guarded by those loyal to him, Vendrick embraced the closest thing to peace that he would find, walking around in circles for the rest of his undeath, eerily characteristic of the never-ending cycle between the ages that in the end may have broken his mind. Vendrick was a man who valued an individual's own strength above all else, and gave out rankings to his soldiers to represent his respect for them, but it would take more than prowess in battle to break the cycle of the ages, and I think he figured that out. As for why Nashandra sends you down into the crypts to get answers from the king, well, firstly, seeing as how she is the queen, I think it's safe to assume that she is well aware of the doors that need the symbol of the king, one of which leads to the throne of want. Secondly, she was probably pretty pissed when Vendrick neglected the throne and hollowed out on her. Maybe she wanted you to know how you would end up if you didn't take the throne. Who knows? I'm hoping that seeing how there isn't much Dark Souls 2 lore on YouTube at the moment, someone might see this and comment on it, revealing some of the lore that I may have missed. Let me know if you enjoyed this and would like to see more, and thank you for listening.